One morning I woke up and do what I normally do. I own a big billboard down in downtown Detroit. And I went in my office and I started prospecting for a company that I kept saying this word grit. I wanted somebody that's been through a lot of stuff, that had this grit, that no matter what, they kept pushing through. And if you guys know anything about Detroit, it's had its downfall. So while I was sitting there prospecting for a company, like I said, I kept writing, thinking about, I want a company that has the grit. And then all of a sudden I wrote the word down, G-R-I-T. And I looked at that and I said, what does it even mean to have grit? And what came out next was something I couldn't unsee. I wrote beside of the word G, I wrote growth. Beside of R, I wrote resilience. In front of I, after I wrote integrity. And then T was tenacity. And you guys, I'm telling you, once I saw growth, resilience, integrity, tenacity, I couldn't unsee it. I couldn't unsee it because those four words were this power that had actually, without even knowing it, it's those four words that led me quietly through my recovery of hitting rock bottom almost 16 years ago through alcoholism. And I looked at those and I thought, man, those are the words that if I live by them, which I did, live by them daily, it empowered me to get on the other side of this alcoholism, how I hit rock bottom. And growth for me, and I'm no therapist, I'm not a licensed professionalist, I'm a hillbilly from southeastern Ohio, and I'm proud of my roots. With growth, I had to get honest. And that's what I looked at. When I looked at the word growth, I said, that's everything I had to face. I had to face my truth. And facing your truth isn't easy because I lived in denial. And I lived in shame. I lived in fear. And I blamed. Oh, did I blame the world around me? Did I blame the people around me for my unhappiness? And it was the growth section that when I finally got honest and got out of denial and I started to face my truth, that's when I began to live out of denial. And I get emotional when I talk about this because I know that I'm not unique. I had to hear that in AA, that you're not unique. I had to relate with people. I had to try to find similarities, that I'm not unique. But I know, and the reason I bring up the word unique is because I know we all face this kind of stuff, shame, guilt, we blame others. The thing I didn't do was take responsibility. And once I started to own my truth, is like I said, is when I started to gain my power back. It's actually when I started to feel self-respect. It's actually when I started to feel self-love. Then I looked at the word resilience. Oh, goodness, have I had to experience some resilience. We all get knocked down. I mean, you guys, it could be the loss of a job. It could be that you lost a loved one. It could be like I did through my alcoholism. We all get knocked down, but resilience is the ability to get back up. Resilience for me is about getting back up quietly. It's not that you're strong and you're gonna do all this and that you're so resilient, nothing's gonna keep me down. It's in that quiet moment. You just get back up because you know, and you start to believe that I'm just gonna keep moving forward. I don't know where this is gonna go. I just know I need to get back up. And it's not giving up on yourself. And actually, it's, I don't know if you can relate, but you still get back up even when everything inside of you hurts. Everything is telling you to just stay down. But in that quiet moment, you get back up. And that's what I experienced in my recovery. There were nights at 2 a.m. in the morning where I would go to Meijer, Kroger, and I would just walk around that store. I would walk around there just to keep moving from going crazy because I wanted to drink so bad. It was just keep moving no matter what. And then integrity, wow. That's, honestly, I always thought I was this amazing, hardworking person, and I wanted the world to see that. But for me, integrity is when your words match your actions. And I can give an example of this, is that I was probably a year and a half sober, and I opened the mailbox, and it's a letter from the IRS. Good gracious, we all don't want to deal with that. My old self started to come back. I laid that letter down on the kitchen counter, and I literally thought, well, if I don't open it, what I don't know can't hurt me. So it sat there for 2 days. But then this question kept arising in my head. Who do you want to be? Well, I don't want to be a person that lives in denial. I don't want to be a person that doesn't face the hard stuff. Because what I've learned, facing the hard stuff is what gets this growth and this wisdom that I never knew was possible. I opened that letter, and I owed over $8,000 in back due taxes. I took a deep breath. I called the number, and the lady on the other line, I'm just going to tell you, the IRS on the other end, she was a beautiful, caring woman. She basically said, come up with a payment that you can afford, but trust me, do not miss this payment. Miss your mortgage, miss your rent payment, miss whatever you have to miss, but don't ever miss this payment, because if we come back a second time, we're not as nice. So she said, whatever number you come up with, make darn sure it's something you can afford. So I said $100. Well, she's on the other line and goes, well, why don't you try to do a little bit more? And I said, you just told me to come up with a number that I'll never miss. She goes, touche, you're right. And I did tell her on the phone, though, that if I ever hit a point where I have some extra money in a month, I give you my word, I will put it on there. If you do the math, $100 a month, that would have taken me well over 7 years to pay. I paid that in less than 3 years. And I'm not saying this to rah, way to go, Jody. But every time I sent a payment, and every time I made a little extra payment, my words were matching my actions. And you know what happened for me? Is I started to just feel so proud of myself. I was proud that I was doing the next right thing, and I was keeping my word. And I started to just keep doing the next right thing, even when I didn't want to. Because in the end, that's what started to make me feel and love myself even more. The next is tenacity. Wow, tenacity and resilience, kind of the same thing, but a little different. Resilience is about, getting knocked down, but you keep getting back up no matter what. Tenacity for me is just keep moving forward. It's not giving up. It's just keep moving forward. It's almost like, some days I didn't want to get up, but for me, tenacity was sometimes just brushing my teeth and opening up my laptop. Simple things. It's just about keep moving forward. We don't need to know what the outcome is, but I do know one thing. Doing nothing gives me the same thing. I always get nothing. So tenacity for me is just about staying in the game,